Friends, today is Thursday, July 13, 2023, and I'm going to read for us today two more verses from Jonah chapter 1, verses 9 and 10. We're finishing off Jonah 1 this week, and now we're going to get to hear Jonah's response. He has been subject to some personal and spiritual questions, origin questions from the mariners in the ship that he's in. He's been running from his calling. God has created a storm. The ship is in a crisis. The mariners invite him into prayer. They cast lots. The lot falls on him. And it doesn't surprise Jonah, we'll see in this quote. He has been indifferent once to the storm, to the punishment, to the fate of his other mariners that are on the ship. And he responds pretty clearly when they ask him about his background. What is your country? Where do you come from? Of what people are you? What's your job? How did this problem develop between you and your God? He says this. He says, I'm a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the God of heaven, who made the sea and the dry land. Well, then the men were even more afraid, and they said to him, what is it that you have done? For the men knew that he was fleeing from the presence of the Lord, because he told them. So, it's a little bit of the dialogue we don't get there, but Jonah must have explained to them that he had been called to do X, and he decided to do Y, to disobey God. And they say, what is it that you have done to do this? This confirms our reading of the early verses in the chapter, verses 1 through 3, where Jonah defies God because he owns that he sees these storms as a judgment on his behavior. But interesting, listen to the tone of the way he responds to the mariners again. Well, I'm a Hebrew, and I worship the Lord, the real God of heaven and earth, who made the sea and the dry land. Jonah is willing rhetorically to kind of put these mariners in their place. I worship the true God, the one who actually created the land and the earth. He's revealing that he knows this storm only has one source. So, he's in a position of strength, right? He has the strength of revealed religion behind him. He knows who the Creator God is. He knows the Torah, the law of God. He's someone who has the benefit of coming in a long tradition of real truth about God. Whereas the mariners are worshiping idols, false gods, made of brick and wood and stone, imaginary gods with no substance. But Jonah doesn't see this as an opportunity, really. It's more he's asserting his own privilege and precedence in the situation, his own, he's in effect saying, I've got a monopoly on the truth here, but he's not really sharing a lot of it with these mariners. He's been indifferent to his own faith and uncaring about the fate of his shipmates. And so this is a situation where there's going to be what we would call, to use the language of war, collateral damage. If God is going to break the boat apart in order to show Jonah that he's in charge and that he needs to change and that there'll be a punishment for disobedience, the mariners will probably die as collateral damage in the situation. But Jonah's not displaying any concern for that. He's not apologizing to the mariners. He's not saying, well, I guess I should have told you that I was rebelling from God and that there might be a punishment. He's just asserting the truth of his own religious position. Why don't we take a moment and pray? Jonah seems pretty callous, Lord, toward his shipmates. He fails to see their spiritual character and their interest. And he shows a kind of depraved indifference. Save us from callousness and disinterest. We want to have the attitude of Jesus, who came to serve and save those who were lost and erring, and who saw the spiritual possibilities in everyone that he encountered. We ask this in his name. Amen.